I want to start today's deep dive with a scenario that, on paper, sounds like just absolute chaos.
Right.
It sounds like the kind of thing you'd come up with at, like, 3 in the morning after a movie marathon. You take the two deadliest organisms in sci-fi history, the alien and the predator, and you just drop them right into the middle of a massive human civil war in the 27th century.
This sounds like a playground argument, doesn't it? You know, who would win in a fight?
Exactly.
But what the author, Tim Lebbon, does in the Rage War trilogy is he strips away all the movie monster stuff.
Yeah.
He turns this premise into a legitimate military history of a conflict that almost wiped humanity out. This isn't just a creature feature.
Yeah.
It's a deconstruction of how we fight, why we fight, and what happens when you turn nature itself into a weapon.
And that's what we're diving into today. We are covering the entire arc: Predator, Incursion, Alien, Invasion, and Alien versus Predator, Armageddon. We're looking at how humanity's expansion into the stars didn't just wake up monsters. It created new ones. I was looking at the star charts you sent over to prep for this. We are not just talking about Earth anymore. The scale here it's just massive.
It is. I mean, to really understand the stakes, you have to get the geography. By the late 27th century, humanity has expanded into what they call the human sphere.
Right.
And it's this massive bubble of colonized space stretching way, way beyond our solar system. We're talking hundreds of worlds. But the only reason this whole thing exists, the only reason it doesn't just collapse under its own weight, is because of drop holes.
These are wormhole gates, right?
Essentially, yeah. Think of them as the arteries of the empire. You have these huge Titan ships that spend decades, sometimes centuries, just traveling at sublight speeds to build a gate at a distant star.
Just build one gate.
Just one. But once that gate is active, you can drop through. You can move fleets, food, resources. You can cross the galaxy in an instant. It's an engineering miracle.
But arteries can be cut.
Precisely. And that's the key. It's a fragile system. If you control the drop holes, you control the flow of blood. You can isolate entire sectors of space.
Starve them out.
And that fragility is exactly what gets exploited in this war. The colonial marines are out there, patrolling the edges, the outer rim, trying to keep these routes safe. But when the trilogy kicks off, the threat isn't coming from pirates or rebels.
No, it's coming from the Yautja.
The predators.
But the thing that stuck out to me, the opening chapters of Incursion, wasn't that the predators were attacking. It was how they were attacking. We're used to seeing them as these ultimate hunters. You know, they want a trophy. They want a fair fight, a challenge. But here, they seem panicked.
That's the first anomaly, and it sets the tone for the entire series. The colonial marines, specifically a unit called the Voidlarks, who we will definitely be talking about a lot, they start reporting these Yautja attacks out in the outer rim.
Okay.
But the Yautja aren't taking trophies. They're not looking for a fair fight. They are glassing planets.
Just wiping them clean.
They're destroying infrastructure. They're blowing up mining habitats with everyone still inside. It's brutal.
It reads less like a hunt and, I don't know, more like a scorched earth retreat.
That is exactly what it is. And that's the terrifying premise we need to lock in right now to understand the gravity of this whole thing. The predators aren't invading the human sphere.
They're fleeing into it.
They are fleeing into it. Something is chasing the galaxy's apex predator out of its own territory.
That is such a disturbing thought. I mean, if the monster under your bed runs out of the room screaming,
yeah,
you know, something worse just walked in.
And that something worse is forcing the Yautja to break their own code. I mean, everything they stand for. They're desperate. They're just trying to create a buffer zone between themselves and this new enemy.
There's a character who catches on to this shift way before the military does, Isa Pelin. She's a xenobiologist.
She's a linguist and a biologist, yeah, which gives her this really unique perspective. She's stationed on a research outpost, and she's analyzing the audio intercepts from Yautja ships during these attacks.
So she's not on the front lines.
Not at all. While the generals, like General Bassett, are looking at kill counts and ship movements, Isa is listening to the voice patterns.
The actual clicks and roars.
Exactly. And she realizes their syntax has shifted. The clicks, the roars, they've changed pitch, they've changed frequency. It's not aggression she's hearing, it's distress.
Wow. So she basically identifies the sound of fear in a species that isn't really supposed to feel it.
She compares it to a wolf whimpering instead of howling. It's this primal signal that the entire hierarchy of the food chain has been violently disrupted.
Let's zoom in on the boots on the ground perspective here, because while Isa is analyzing data, we have Johnny Maines and the Voidlarks actually living through this night north.
Yes.
They're an excursionist unit, so Long-range recon.
And Johnny Mains is a fantastic protagonist because he's not a superhero. He's just a competent, very tired soldier who's operating way out in the deep dark.
Been doing it for a long time.
In Incursion, his team is shadowing this massive Yautja habitat. It's designated MF-12. They're just there to watch. That's the whole mission.
And then it all goes wrong.
Everything goes wrong. They get caught in the crossfire of an attack, and they crash land inside the Predator habitat.
The description of that habitat is just visceral. It's not some clean, sterile sci-fi spaceship.
No, not at all. It's a hunting lodge in space. The book describes it as hot, humid. It smells like rotting meat and curing hides. It's full of trophies, skulls from 100 different worlds. And Mains and his team have to survive in this environment for weeks. But the horror isn't just the environment.
It's that they realize they aren't alone.
The habitat is being boarded.
By the fire lizards.
That's what the enemy calls them. We, of course, know them as xenomorphs. But Mains witnesses something that should be impossible. He sees the Yautja, the owners of this whole station, fighting a losing battle against the aliens.
On their own turf.
On their own turf. And he notices that the aliens are acting with military precision. They aren't just swarming blindly. They're executing tactical brooches, flanking maneuvers.
And trained soldiers.
Exactly. And this leads to the discovery that changes everything. Mains finds a ship docked at the habitat. It looks human, but wrong.
How so?
It's a hybrid vessel. It has human architecture, but it's using technology that Mains has never seen before, doesn't recognize. And inside the habitat, amidst all this slaughter, Mains and his surviving crew member, a private named Leader, find an android.
An android named Patton.
Yes, like the World War II general.
That's a weird choice for an android name.
It is, but this isn't a service android. Patton is pinned to a wall by a Yautja spear. He's malfunctioning, and he's laughing.
Like-
And as the xenomorphs swarm around him, they don't attack him. They ignore him. And that's when Mains sees the smoking gun right there. He sees a xenomorph with the name Patton stamped onto its carapace.
Branded. Like
Product. And that one single detail just flips the entire genre on its head. This isn't a nature documentary gone wrong. This is agriculture.
Oh, man.
It proves that the xenomorphs aren't just an infestation. They are a deployed biological weapon. And the people deploying them are a group called the Rage.
So let's talk about the Rage, because they aren't aliens. They're us, or, they used to be.
They are the founders. To understand them, you have to go back in the history of this universe. Centuries ago, a group of humans led by this visionary, or maybe a fanatic, depending on how you look at it, named Wordsworth.
Okay.
He decided they were done with the corporate oversight of Weyland-Yutani. They wanted purity, so they took these massive colony ships and just disappeared into the void to start a new society free from interference.
And the assumption was they just died out there in the dark.
Or just drifted so far away they became irrelevant. A footnote. But they didn't die. They found something. Out there in the deep void, they encountered the xenomorphs.
And they weren't wiped out.
No. They adapted, they studied the organism, and they found advanced technology tech that we later learned didn't even originate with them.
And now they're back, led by Beatrix Maloney.
Beatrix Maloney is a total nightmare figure. She's one of the original founders. She's been kept alive for centuries in the suspension gel globe.
A gel globe.
Yeah, she's physically atrophied. She's barely human anymore, just floating in this fluid. But her mind is sharp, and it is filled with hundreds and hundreds of years of bitterness.
Wow.
She believes the founders were driven out, persecuted. So she has spent centuries building an army to come back and liberate the human sphere from Weyland-Yutani.
She's not doing it alone, though. She has these android generals. We mentioned Patton, but there's also Alexander and Mishima. They're very distinct characters, aren't they?
Oh, very much so. And they're unlike the synthetics we usually see in the movies. The ones that are logical or subservient.
Like Bishop or David.
Right. The Rage androids are emotional, they are cruel, they are sadistic, and they despise standard humans.
They see us as inferior.
They view us as weak, messy, flesh and blood failures. They actually admire the xenomorphs because the xenomorph is a perfect structure, just like they see themselves. They see themselves as the next step in evolution, and the xenomorphs are their hounds.
There is one exception, though. Lilia.
Lilia is the rogue element. She's an android who escaped the Rage, and she represents the road not taken, the potential for artificial life to develop empathy instead of hate.
So she's the key.
She flees back toward the human sphere, carrying all the secrets of the Rage's tech. She becomes the absolute key to understanding the enemy, and naturally she's being hunted relentlessly by General Alexander.
Okay, so the board is set. You have the fleeing predators, the completely confused Marines, and this returning vengeance force, the Rage. I want to spend some time on this, on the weaponization of nature.
Yeah.
Because, the short summary version really doesn't do justice to how horrifying the Rage's methods are.
No, it's industrial horror. I mean, think about it. Weyland-Yutani has been trying to control the alien for centuries and just failing over and over because the alien is inherently wild.
You can't tame it.
You can't.
Yeah.
But the Rage solved it. They use nanotechnology and these android handlers to insert control mechanisms directly into the creature's nervous systems. They can literally direct the hive mind.
But they added a feature that I find particularly disturbing from a tactical standpoint. The suicide bomber protocol.
This is a complete game changer on the battlefield. In a standard encounter, right, if a Marine shoots a xenomorph, it bleeds acid, it dies, and you move on.
Standard procedure.
But the Rage xenomorphs are rigged. When they register critical trauma, when they're shot or seriously injured, the nanotech inside them triggers an immediate violent chemical breakdown. They detonate.
They explode.
They either explode or they melt down instantly into this high-pressure spray of concentrated acid. It's a scorched earth tactic on a biological level.
I mean, just think about fighting in a pressurized spaceship or a
Yeah.
space station.
Exactly. If you shoot the enemy, you breach the hull. If you don't shoot the enemy, it eats you.
It puts the Marines in an absolutely impossible tactical bind.
It does, and it denies the enemy any biomass to study, so you can't reverse engineer it, and it ensures maximum collateral damage. It's horribly brilliant.
Now, to field an army of this size,
Yeah.
aliens need hosts.
Right.
We all know the life cycle. Egg, face hugger, chest burster. You need a body for every single one of your soldiers. Where is the Rage getting all the bodies?
This brings us to the nursery ships. And I have to say, reading the source material in the Sesko Foley, this is the part of the trilogy that really stuck with me.
It's the darkest part of the whole story.
It is. The Rage has been out there, hunting down ancient human colony ships, the F ships they call them, for founder ships.
Okay.
These are vessels that left Earth centuries ago, filled with thousands of colonists in cryosleep, just drifting at sublight speeds. These people went to sleep expecting to wake up on a new planet, to start a new life.
A new beginning. Instead, the Rage finds them.
The Rage captures these ships, and they don't wake the colonists.
Wow.
They bring the eggs directly into the cryobays. The descriptions in the book are chilling. You have rows upon rows of sleeping people, completely helpless, and the Rage androids are just moving down the line, placing face-huggers on them one by one.
Industrial slaughter.
It's worse than slaughter. It's using human beings as raw material. They incubate the chest bursters, and then they keep the hosts in this low-power sleep state just to slow down the gestation until they need the soldiers.
So they can time the births.
They've turned human dreams into a factory line for monsters. The Sesko Foley isn't a colony ship anymore, it's a carrier. But instead of launching fighter jets, it launches drop ships full of xenomorphs that were birthed from those colonists.
That context just makes the invasion in Book 2 so much heavier. When a Rage ship arrives, it's not just an enemy vessel.
It's a tomb.
It's a flying graveyard.
Exactly. And that leads us directly into alien invasion. The Rage's strategy is brilliant and just brutal. They target the drop holes.
Right, the arteries.
As we established, if you take the drop holes, you paralyze the entire human sphere.
Let's talk about the attack on Sharon Station. This is a really pivotal battle in the second book.
It's a massacre. I mean, just a complete massacre. Sharon Station is a major hub, a critical choke point. The Rage uses the F-ships to launch swarms of xenomorphs like they're missiles.
So they're bombarding the station with aliens.
They are effectively bombarding the station with biological weapons, and the Colonial Marines are completely overwhelmed because of that suicide mechanic we talked about.
Who can't fight back effectively.
They're holding corridors, firing pulse rifles, but every enemy they kill is exploding on impact, melting through bulkheads. The station starts to breach, decompression occurs. It's just total, absolute chaos.
And this military disaster creates a political crisis. We have General Bassett, who leads the Marines, and then we have Gerard Marshall, who represents the 13.
The 13, they're the board of Weyland-Yutani. They are the real power behind the throne, and Marshall represents the corporate interests.
Of course.
His reaction to this whole invasion is so telling. He doesn't see a tragedy, he sees a patent, he sees the Rage's xenomorphs controllable, weaponized, and he wants that tech.
So while Bassett's trying to save lives, Marshall is trying to secure intellectual property.
It gets worse. Marshall actually proposes shutting down the entire drop hole network. His logic is just ice cold.
Let me guess. Save the core worlds.
If we turn off the gates, the Rage ships are stuck traveling at sublight speeds in the Outer Rim. It would take them decades to reach the core worlds. The core is saved. The stock price stabilizes.
But it strands billions of people in the Outer Rim with the monsters.
It creates a sacrifice zone. Just write them off. Bassett refuses, of course. He won't condemn all those colonists to death. So it sets up this conflict where the humans are fighting each other almost as hard as they are fighting the aliens.
And while the humans are arguing about who to sacrifice, Isa Pallant decides to try something unthinkable. She wants to talk to the Predators.
This is the turning point of the entire war. Isa, along with a Marine unit called the Devil Dogs, led by a Major Akoko Hal, they manage to signal a Yautja ship. They orchestrate a meeting on a neutral vessel, the Tracy Jane.
Describe that meeting, because in my head, it's just pure nail-biting tension.
It's terrifying. You have Isa, an academic, a scientist, standing in a cargo bay, and in walks Elder Kaka. The source text describes the smell cinnamon and raw meat.
Cinnamon and raw meat. That is a disturbing cologne choice.
It's so visceral. And Kaka is old, he's scarred, he's pragmatic, he's huge. He could snap her neck with just a flick of his wrist.
And he almost does, right?
At one point, he actually grabs her by the throat. This is not a diplomatic handshake. But Isa holds her ground. She realizes she can't appeal to his mercy because he has none. She has to appeal to his warrior code and his survival instinct.
So she makes it about him.
She lays it out plain and simple. The Rage is hunting you. They're erasing your history, your hunting grounds. If we die, you die. Help us kill them.
And it works.
It works because it's true. The Yautja agree to a ceasefire. It's the enemy of my enemy doctrine in its purest form. They don't become friends. They don't start sharing meals or anything.
Right.
But they agree to point their weapons in the same direction, for now.
This shifts the entire dynamic going into Book 3. Armageddon. Now we have a combined force. We have colonial Marines fighting alongside Predators.
And we see this play out so vividly on Weaver's world. This is a civilian planet that General Mishima, one of the Rage androids, attacks, specifically to draw the Marines into a trap. He wants a grinding, bloody ground war.
And we follow a Major Bisanoff on the ground here.
Yeah, Bisanoff is in the ruins of a city. His squad is pinned down. Ammo is running low. The xenomorph tide is just, it's coming. And then the Yautja drop pods land.
I love the tactical synergy they describe here. It's not just, cool fan service. It actually makes sense.
It absolutely does. The Marines have heavy firepower smart guns, pulse rifles. They are great at suppression and long-range engagement.
Laying down a wall of lead.
Exactly. And the Yautja are masters of stealth, mobility, and melee. So you get these scenes of Marines laying down a wall of fire to strip the shields and slow the advance.
And the Yautja are cloaking and moving in to decapitate the stragglers or engage the ones that get too close.
It even solves the acid splash problem to some degree.
How so?
A Yautja spear has reach, their combi stick. They can impale a xenomorph and toss it away before it detonates. Bisanoff actually issues the order over the comms, "Do not fire on the Yautja, they are with us."
That must have been a shock to hear.
It's a historic moment in the lore. Two species that have been trying to kill each other for centuries are suddenly, out of necessity, covering each other's backs.
But the Rage has a secret. And this is where the story goes from a war story to something more like cosmic horror. Isa Pallant and her team, they capture a damaged Rage android named Oscar.
Yes, Oscar is offline. He's severed from the Rage network. So Isa and a Yautja scientist named Yautja, which is another incredible team-up, by the way.
A human and a Predator scientist.
They probe his memory banks.
Yeah.
And they find these blocks, deep, encrypted barriers in his fundamental coding.
And when they break through those blocks,
they find the truth about the technology. The Rage didn't invent the suspension gel that's keeping Maloney alive. They didn't invent the super fast FTL drives. They didn't invent the control chips for the xenomorphs.
They found them.
They found them. They scavenged them from the ruins of an ancient civilization called the Drukathi.
The Drukathi. Okay, this opens up the universe significantly.
It does. The Drukathi are described as these ancient manipulators of life. The implication is that the Rage, in their arrogance, in their hubris, they stumbled upon a Drukathi derelict ship.
And just took everything they could.
They downloaded the tech, but they didn't understand it. They were essentially children playing with a loaded gun they found in the woods.
And the gun might be pointed at them.
Exactly. The tech is active, the gel that keeps Maloney alive. The book implies it's influencing her, whispering to her. The drive on her flagship, it's alive.
Oh, wow.
It implies that the Rage aren't the conquerors they think they are. They might just be puppets. Or at best, test subjects for the Drukathi.
That brings us to the endgame. The Rage fleet, led by Maloney on her flagship, the Macbeth, arrives in the solar system. They've bypassed the Outer Rim defenses. They are going for the throat, Earth.
And the Macbeth is a leviathan. It's a monster of a ship. And inside its engine room lives this entity called the Phase.
The Phase?
It's a shape-shifting alien-machine hybrid that powers the drive. Maloney thinks she controls it. She even talks to it. But as the fleet approaches Earth, the Phase starts expanding. It starts consuming the ship from the inside out.
So her own power source is turning on her. Meanwhile, the fleet is at Earth's door. The combined human Yautja fleet is outnumbered. They need a miracle. And this brings us back to Johnny Mains.
Johnny Mains, he's been through absolute hell. He's lost most of his team. He's tired. He's broken. But he realizes there's a sister ship to the Macbeth called the Athol.
And it's just as important.
It's carrying a massive portion of the invasion force. If that ship deploys its dropships, Earth is lost. The shields are too strong for the Marine cruisers to penetrate.
So he makes a choice.
He pilots his ship directly at the Athol. He overloads his drive. It's a suicide run. But unlike the Rage Unimorphs, who are programmed to die, this is a human choice. It's sacrifice.
For the greater good.
The text describes him and Private Leader just holding hands as they hit the thrusters, and his last words are, "for everyone else."
That hits hard. They ram the ship.
They ram it. They detonate the drive inside the Athol's shields. The explosion vaporizes a huge chunk of the Rage fleet. It levels the playing field for the final battle.
And on the Macbeth, things are completely falling apart. Lalia, the rogue android, has managed to infiltrate the ship.
Right. Lalia confronts Maloney, and it's this incredible battle of philosophies. Maloney represents the old human desire for conquest, for revenge, for domination. She wants to rule the galaxy.
And Lalia.
Lalia represents a new synthesis evolution through empathy. She argues that the Rage has failed because they lost their humanity in the pursuit of perfection.
And the Xenomorphs prove her point.
Yes. As the Macbeth takes damage, and as the Phase entity begins to destabilize the ship's systems, the neural link to the Xenomorphs falters. The control signal just drops.
And we know what happens when a Xenomorph gets off the leash.
Total chaos.
Right.
The perfect soldiers resume their natural instincts, and they turn on their masters. The Xenomorphs on the Macbeth break out of their containment bays. They slaughter the Rage crew.
So Maloney watches her own weapons destroy her.
Maloney, trapped in her gel globe, completely helpless, just watches her entire empire get eaten alive from the inside out. It's poetic justice. The weaponization of nature fails because, ultimately, nature cannot be fully tamed.
With the command ship in chaos and the fleet broken by Main's sacrifice, the Alliance just wipes them out. Earth is saved.
Earth is saved, but the cost, well, this is where we get to the aftermath, and it is not a happy ending.
No, not at all. The human sphere is wrecked. Drop holes are destroyed. Billions are dead.
And the Alliance ends immediately. The second the Macbeth is destroyed, the Yautja disengage. Elder Koaka doesn't come down for a medal ceremony.
No parade.
They take their trophies, maybe some Rage android heads, some unique Xenomorph skulls, and they just leave.
They just ghost us.
They return to the shadows. The status quo of the Cold War comes back. But it's different now.
There's respect.
There's a newfound respect. The Yautja know that humans are capable of fighting back, of making alliances, and humans know that the Yautja can be reasoned with under the most extreme circumstances. The monsters are a known quantity now.
But the real lingering fear, the thing that stays with you, is the Drukathi.
That is the loose end that keeps me up at night reading this. The Phase entity on the Macbeth disappears or is destroyed, but the logs, the interrogations, they all point to the Drukathi still being out there, watching.
Do you think the Rage War was just a test? A proxy war?
That is the chilling implication. The Drukathi might have weaponized the Rage just to soften us up. Or maybe, and this is an even scarier thought, maybe the Rage were running from the Drukathi, just like the Yautja were running from the Rage.
A food chain of civilizations.
It just reinforces the idea that there is always a bigger fish out there in the dark.
And there's one more thought regarding those F-ships. We know the Rage captured many sleeper ships, not just one or two.
That is the final horror of the series. We destroyed the fleet that attacked Earth. But space is infinite. We don't know if we got them all.
So imagine you are a deep space explorer, 50, 100 years from now. You find a derelict ship just drifting in the void, you think salvage, a fortune.
You crack the airlock, you enter the cryo bay, and you see thousands of pods blinking amber. You think you found survivors. You think you're a hero.
But you haven't found survivors.
You found the Rage's leftovers. Automated nurseries drifting in the dark, waiting for a wake-up signal that will never, ever come. But the eggs are still there. The chest bursters are still waiting inside the sleepers.
That is a terrifying legacy. The war is over, but the minefield is still active.
It completely changed the map. It proved that humanity is not safe, not even from itself. The Rage War showed us that our own desire to conquer and control is just as dangerous as any monster with acid for blood.
Well, on that absolute nightmare of a realization, I think we've probably reached the bottom of this deep dive.
It's been a heavy one, but an important one in the lore.
We've covered the fleeing predators, the weaponized aliens, the cyborg generals, and the ancient conspiracies pulling the strings. It's a trilogy that really delivers on the promise of the alien versus predator concept in a way the movies never quite did.
It treats the universe with respect. And it treats you, the listener, with respect, assuming you can handle the grim reality of what interstellar war would actually look like.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, I highly, highly recommend reading the books by Tim Lebbon. The tactical details of the space battles are so intense, and we really only scratch the surface of the character work.
And, maybe stay away from derelict ships. Just leave them alone.
Solid advice. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you on the next deep dive.
Stay safe.